By Democratic Congressman Robert Andrews of New Jersey. Also with us, Republican Congressman David Schweikert of Arizona. He's a freshman, by the way, representative who's on the Financial Services Committee. Congressman Schweikert, let me start with you. Your impressions of the president's speech. He drew the line on several occasions in this speech with the proposal made by Congressman Ryan, including the issue of health care, saying that the other proposal would increase what seniors and poor families pay seniors by $6,000. What's your response?
Well, you know, the first third of the speech I actually loved. Though I got to tell you, I think the second...
What did you love about it?
Well, he was actually articulating the crisis that faces all of us, and even the willingness to talk about Social Security and Medicare. When you consider how many on both left and right around here, but particularly our brothers and sisters over in the Senate, don't want to touch any of this subject. And so he gets credit for that. I will say I believe the second two-thirds were a little bordering on schizophrenic, if not very partisan.
Please elaborate on that.
Give you a classic case of when he was talking about poor children and seniors. He was talking about dollars from Medicaid. Well, part of the discussion in the Ryan budget is, would our states, if we would give those states the dollars, manage those benefits better and design those benefits for the demographics of our individual communities?
Well, the president said he would work with governors to look for efficiency and effective ways to handle Medicaid.
But you have a problem. You can say in one sentence, I'm going to work with them to deliver these dollars better and more efficiently, and then in the other sentence to demagogue it. You know, I mean, and here's where you get very tired of the political theater around here and wish it was a bit more like the first third of the speech, some honesty about the problem.
Congressman Andrews, let me bring you in on the conversation here. Do you believe there was honesty addressed here by the president regarding the problems, as your colleague in the House just stated?
Yes, and I think the president laid out a choice that we ought to make. In order to restrain Medicare spending and reduce the deficit, do you ask millionaires to pay a little bit more in taxes, or do you ask senior citizens to pay $6,000 a year more out of their pocket for health care? That's a pretty obvious choice to me. Do you let Medicare negotiate for prescription drug prices to get the same deal the VA does? Or do you have tax cuts for millionaires? I mean, I think that's not a demagoguery, that's a choice. And I guess I would ask my friend from Arizona which of those choices he would make.
Congressman Schweikert?
Brilliant point. Look, the top 5% of American earners pay 59% of all the income tax. So how many jobs do you want to crush? How many small businesses do you want to destroy? If we're trying to save this country, we need economic growth. We need those jobs. And you can't continue to be demagoguing the job creators in this country. And
can I ask another question?
Go ahead.
Sure, go ahead.
Because we didn't get an answer to that one. Let me ask another question.
Congressman, that's tacky. Look, that was an honest answer.
Okay, let's ask another question then. We tried this formula of tax reductions for the wealthiest people under George W. Bush, and we had a small increase on taxes for the wealthy under Bill Clinton. Which administration created more jobs?
Well, if you mean when we had the Republican Congress that did welfare reform and many of those great policies in the mid-'90s, you know, look, you're making a great point. Look how much better the economy.
Let me interrupt, gentlemen, here. Let me bring it to what the president said. The tax burden on the wealthiest is at its lowest level in half a century. Congressman Schweikert, to put the conversation back with taxes, should everything be on the table? How do you make up the revenue here?
You actually go back to somewhat where I'm hoping the president was leading, which is from his own deficit commission, saying, look, we're going to have to lower marginal rates, broaden out the base, take away a lot of these special exemptions, these special lobbyist-driven tax cuts. But you also now got to deal with another problem from the president's own State of the Union speech, and now this speech. If we're going to be lowering also corporate income taxes, how do you deal with so many of our brothers and sisters out there that their income comes from their LLC, their subchapter S? So there's a lot of devils in the details here on this tax policy.
Well, as expected. Go ahead, I'm sorry. I'll let you get the last word, Congressman.
I would just say this. How do you borrow $1 trillion from the Chinese to lower taxes for wealthy people and raise health care costs for seniors by getting rid of Medicare. I just don't understand the Republican plan. I like the president's difference. I think it's the right direction.
All right, Congressman David Schweikert of Arizona and Congressman Robert Andrews of New Jersey, thank you both for your reaction. And with us now for a third reaction, we have with us Philip Dennis. He's actually the founder of the Dallas